Guys, welcome to the 180 Podcast, the show where we interview barbers who have been using barbering as a tool to really change their lives, to do a 180, if you will. I'm your host, Dexter, and today's episode, I think is going to be nothing short of powerful. We're sitting down with what I think is a true pioneer in short-form barbering content in the barbering industry, somebody who's really mastered the art of viral covers, voiceovers, and consultations, while also, may I add, balancing life as a single dad raising a son. We're going to dive into his journey, his challenges, and what really fuels his drive to keep him pushing boundaries in the industry. Whether you're just starting out as a barber or you're looking to take your content to the next level as a barber, I truly think that this conversation is going to leave you inspired and ready to make your next move. So without further ado, I would like to welcome our guest today, my boy, ZayPressure. Thank you for being here today, my friend.
Thank you for having me, bro. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, brother. So we're just going to go right into it, bro. And let's first talk about how old you are, right? And then you can kind of talk to us about your barbering journey and what you're passionate about when it comes to that.
All right. Well, I'm 24 years old, turning 25 in a couple months, like 5 months. I've been cutting for 4 to 5 years now, I would say. I started taking cutting hair seriously in 2021 is when I joined barber school and really went all in on barbering, quit my job. Well, I didn't quit my job. I got laid off, COVID, stuff like that. But since then I've been going serious, but a little bit before then I would cut my friends here and there. I've been cutting myself for a long time. So
awesome,
I've been cutting for 4 to 5 years, 24,
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of crazy to think about is we actually started cutting hair right around that same time. Like 2018, 2019 is when I really picked up the clippers. And then 2020 is when I started to take it serious. And then all of COVID, like you said, all of COVID happened. But I really like talk to us, like what inspired you to start barbering? Like what made you want to pursue that route after you got laid off from work?
So for me growing up, I was just always around hair. I was always around the barbershop. I grew up in the barbershop. I was always getting my hair cut from a young age. I would always go get my hair cut. My dad even cut some of his friends' hair. He would cut his own hair. Sometimes he cut my hair. He messed me up a little bit. And even my mother did hair. She did braids. I used to get braids when I was younger.
Oh, wow.
So, just doing hair was just a thing around me all the time. And then me, taking care of my own hair. I had like a lot of hair. Sometimes I would have curls. Sometimes I even had waves. So just being around the hair. And then as I got older, it became like a tradition for me and my family, me and my 2 brothers and my father. We would go to the barbershop every 2 weeks on a routine basis. And, we would chill in the barbershop and get our haircuts. But this was back when there was 15 minutes appointments and, you had to wait like 2-3 hours to get your haircut sitting at the shop. So we would just be in there chilling. Sometimes we go play outside. We'll listen to music. We'll watch the game if we're there until the games come on. We even sweep up sometimes and make some money. Go buy some snacks or something. Wasn't nothing too crazy.
Yeah,
we were
sure.
kids.
Yeah.
But that just inspired me just being around that and seeing that barbers, they're making good money. Like all the barbers, back then it was all cash too. So it's like I'm like a kid seeing stacks of money everywhere. I'm sweeping and the barber pulls out a wad of money and gives me like $2.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. So, you know, just being around that type of environment is what really inspired me to be a barber.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that, man. I think that we all kind of have those experiences, when we were younger, being at barbershops. Some of them are really good, like you, and some of them are like me getting absolutely butchered. You know what I mean? Those are the memories that I have. You know what I mean? But definitely, I mean, the barbering industry, it's changed a lot now, right? Like it's appointment based, right? So we don't spend as much time at the shop as we used to when we were younger, but at those really good places, you still have that, you still have that atmosphere and that vibe.
For sure.
I kind of want to dive into really about your story and talking about, you having a son at a young age, right? And talking about the kind of struggles. And I think this is going to be relatable to some people out here who might be listening is, having children at a young age, trying to find that balance of growing your business, the responsibilities of that. So talk to us a little bit about that, bro. As a single dad, raising your son, how do you balance your responsibilities while still growing your business?
Man, that's a good question. I would say having a child made me go harder at a young age. It made me get myself together and gave me some purpose and some responsibility that allowed me to, push myself, challenge
Mm,
myself.
mm-hmm,
Um so it kind of helped my responsibilities because now someone else is depending on me.
mm,
But personally, right now I'm on a schedule, so I get my son on the weekends. So I can still take time during the week to pursue my business to get things done, and I get him on the weekends. Now, even though he's with me on the weekends, weekends are when most barbers are the most busiest, right? Everybody
right.
else is off of work, so they can come in and get a haircut, during the day. So I would just bring him with me. So he had that same type of experience. He would come to the barber shop with me. Sometimes he would stay with my family, or we might have a babysitter. He might sleep over his cousins or something like that. But he came with me a lot, so he grew up the same as me, but a lot younger. I wouldn't. I would say I wasn't start hanging out at the shop until I was like maybe 10, 11. Izzy's been in the shop since he was like 3, since he could
Yeah.
start walking. He's been in the shop.
Yeah.
Um, so just bringing him around, and I I do stuff with my son. Like
Mm,
I show him how to cut. I got him like a fake barber set for Christmas, like a toys, so he can like learn how to do it. I'm like a teaching father. Like all
mm,
parents are different. Some parents, they're nurturing. Some like I like to show Izzy how to do stuff.
mm.
So I showed him how to sweep, showed him how to cut, hold the clippers, showed him how to hold the phone, work the phone. Um, so Izzy never really deterred me or made things harder on reaching my goals. He kind of made me go harder, but he definitely did change my goals.
Mm, mm,
So I would say, he kind of changed my focus because my focus was kind of go have fun. I was gonna like go to college. But knowing that I had a child on the way, with my experience, I used to work at a bar as like a bar back and a bus boy. And, I was around a lot of people that went to college and, they're working full time at a restaurant or at a bar. So I'm like, I, I I was around a lot of people that went to college and had like that college degree or college experience, but they wasn't doing anything with it.
mm.
And with that on my mind, how much money it was, I knew I wasn't going to get any help on the financial side of things. I could get some scholarships, but I wasn't trying to be in debt for a
Sure.
long time. And the knowing that my son was coming, it's like, hey, I need to switch it up, and I started working. When I graduated high school, I didn't go to college. I started working. I started going to different jobs. But I realized that those jobs they weren't for me. I didn't really fit in. I was trying to get jobs that like you can build a career with. So I'm this young 18-year-old high school kid, and there's like 40-year-olds around me, and they're hating on me like I was a little pretty boy back then. I say I'm handsome now, but back then I was, it was even better. But it just wasn't a good environment for me. And
Yeah.
COVID happened, and I
Yeah.
got laid off, and it was just like, hey, I'm getting unemployment checks, so I'm still getting paid, and I'm gonna have all this time now. I don't have to work. Let me go, join barber school. I was actually living. I was renting a room with my friend, and I was living on my own, and I actually moved back home with my mother. Um, and I joined barber school, so it was definitely a risk, and it was definitely like a big change when I made that shift. But I realized like working these jobs that I was able to get, it wasn't working for me.
Yeah.
So
That, I think that's something that we all as barbers can really relate to, is that feeling of working a 9 to 5 and thinking, this ain't it, man. Like I'm not meant for this. Like I want to do something different.
for
And
sure.
it's funny is like things like that where you almost barbering almost falls into it, right? Like the same thing with me, where it's like my dad would always cut my hair, and like I said, I never had good experiences. It was always bad experiences. But it's funny how that stuff kind of sticks with you at a young age, and then it's like life happens, and then boom, it's like on your lap again. It's like, well, what about cutting hair? What about barbering?
Right.
And I think for you, bro, I just want to commend you. Like, just the fact that I love what you said about you have goals, you have visions, right? As a younger person, and you know how it is, bro. 18, 17, 19, you think you know everything, bro. You
Oh
think you
yeah.
run the
Oh,
world,
I
man.
did.
Who's gonna stop me? Who's gonna stop me? And it's funny when life kind of hits you. Uh like a brick wall, if you will, right? And
Yeah.
with Izzy, I mean, that dude is gonna be jacked one day, bro. He is gonna be like a brick wall. But that was kind of like your brick wall. It was like, whoa, what I mean? This is it. And for you to there's people I've seen this. I'm sure you have too, bro. When situations like that happen and you get up against a wall like that, is you can crumble and fall. Woe is me. Look what's going on. And to your credit, and I hope this inspires somebody else who's listening to this as well, is you rose above that, bro. You rose above that and you decided, hey, this is the reality of the situation. I could cry about it, or I can go get off my blessed assurance, right, and go do something about it. And that's what you did, bro. So I love that, man. And I think that one of the things that I think is important to you, from just knowing you and working with you for the past year and a half, is I know that that's something that motivates you. I know that family, right, and taking care of them is something that is a big thing for you. So,
Huge,
could you
man.
talk a little
Huge.
bit about that? Like, talk about motivation. What keeps you really pushing forward and growing, even on those days when you don't feel like it?
Got you, man. Well, I want to say one more point before I answer that next question, because you said something just now that really resonated with me, and I think it could help a lot of people out. Um, how I overcame that kind of roadblock, right? Um, I did overcome it, but trust and believe it was not easy.
Yeah,
It took work, and there was a lot of emotions involved as well. You got to think like when you're a young man and you're a high school football player, you know all the girls want you, you're just living life, having so much fun. I had a car, I had a job, I'm working at a bar where people are smoking and drinking all the time. Like my whole life is just a big ass party,
yeah,
right? And then that happens. Like it was really hard. um you know I got to stay at home. I'm working now, I'm getting full-time jobs, and then when I'm not going to work, I'm having my son, because me and his mother aren't together. We're still cool though, everything's good with us, but it was like I get him, then you get him. So I'm at work, and then when I'm not working, I get him. So there's like no time off, because when it's a baby, it's work, you know. It's not, it's work. um
I could
and
just
it's like,
imagine you
I'm a
changing
social
diapers,
media,
bro.
you oh I was right on YouTube, how to be a dad. But there's also, I'm the social media guy,
Yeah.
and I'm on social media, all the people my age, all my friends, like everybody's just out having fun, and
Mm,
I'm just like working and in the house, like not doing anything. So it took a lot of sacrifice, but I still had my fun, and I still do my things. It's just maybe not as much as everybody else did
sure.
during that time. But also, when I was a lot younger, I was already having fun enough. So maybe I already had enough fun.
Yeah.
Um, but I just wanted to put that out there, that, like, if any roadblocks come for anybody that's listening, you can get over it, but it's not going to be easy. But it
Mm,
takes you making a decision and saying, hey, this is what it's going to be. This is what I'm going to do. And you might have to sacrifice some things, and you're going to feel some things, and you're going to see some things, but you can get through it.
I
So
love
I
that,
just wanted
bro.
to say that point before we go to the next one.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. I mean, I think like, back to the question I was asking, I feel like you pretty much answered it. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
what's the big thing that motivates you, keeps you pushing and growing, is realizing that thing. I mean, I would love to hear in your own words if there's anything else you want to touch on that part.
Yeah, I mean, my family definitely motivates me, and it's more than Izzy. It's my whole family. I have a big family. I have younger siblings. I have parents. I have uncles, cousins, and I want to. Most of my family is, they're doing okay, but I come from a struggling environment. Even though when I was younger, you know, you don't really know these things. You don't know you're struggling or you're financially, your family's not financially there until you get older.
Mm.
And now looking back, it's like, okay, this is what was going on. But I want to be able to find a way to make life better for my family, right? Including Izzy. Izzy's my son, and I know like financially, when you just have financials, there's a lot more better opportunities. There's better health care, there's better schools, there's better, you can send them to programs and summer camps and things like that. When you're not financially well off, those opportunities kind of slip away, and you just kind of go to school, come home. This is what it is, right? But just everyone around me just growing up struggling. And even now, there's still people struggling in my family. I'm just like, that motivates me to make something of myself that's bigger than just not struggling. At first, that was the goal. I just don't want to struggle like how I've been doing.
Yeah.
Now, I've got myself together. I got my life together, but now there's more. Now I got to help other people not struggle. Now I got to live in abundance, and now I have more things to do it for other than just me getting myself together.
Yeah.
So that really motivates me, and for my family, but also for the world, using social media and showing other people that it's possible as well.
Absolutely, bro. I mean, I think I can relate to that, bro. I think a lot of people can relate to that I said this in the first episode on the podcast is what's your North Star? Because for me, like I didn't start taking barbering seriously or start wanting to make really a lot of money. Well, I always wanted to, but never really took that step until I got really serious with my wife, Naomi, right? Well, who was my girlfriend at the time, where I was like, bro, I want to give her everything. You know what I mean? And that was what was like the push, the final push for me. It's like, dude, you know what? I got to go do something about this. But I love that. I hope that everybody, if you're listening in on this, I hope that you have that North Star. I hope that you have something to really push towards and that motivates you when you yourself don't feel like it. Pressure, you brought up a great
Exactly.
point about social media, right? And how that's a big part of your life. You talked about it with your friends when you first had Izzy, right? And how you were
Oh yeah.
enjoying them. But I know that you actually use social media. Me and you, we are both gamers, by the way. I remember that for sure. And how we used to watch YouTube all the time. There you go. Come on, pull it up. Hey,
Come on now.
where's my controller at, bro?
I'm at my workstation and the game
Hold up,
station,
bro.
man.
We about to pause this podcast and
Hold up now.
we're just gonna get a
We gotta
session
run around real quick.
in. But yeah, back to social media in that aspect. I mean, I think like for you, you started using social media, and I said this at the very beginning, and I truly think so. Like, me and you were both in the same program in elevated mentorship. And I remember like literally watching your stuff and thinking, holy cow, like this is a whole new world. Like I've never seen this before. I never even thought about doing something like that. So like, how did you really kind of like come up with these ideas of creating sort of like I don't want to say clickbait like viral covers, but pretty much, right? It's like, man, this really stands out. Like what
Yeah.
inspired you to do that, or how'd you come up with those ideas?
All right. So the clickbait covers, um, they actually came from me seeing other people. Even though, maybe I was the one to blow it up to a bigger level, or I was the one to expose some people to it.
Hmm.
I was seeing them, but what I can say, I saw these clickbait covers all the time, even before I joined the program, because I was a barber before I joined New Era Barbering. And I would be watching videos because I'm a social media guy, and I would be clicking on them. But what really stood out to me was they look fake. They look like over exaggerated. Like the ones back then when before I started doing them, it was like super duper exaggerated, but I had never seen stuff like that before either, and I knew it would have something to do with haircut, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to click on that. But I learned the process from the new era of barbering. But what I wanted to do was make it look more realistic. I'm big on realistic stuff. I'm big on being a real dude, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
big
yeah.
on making things look realistic. Even in my haircuts, I do a lot of messed up hairlines and enhancements. I'm big on making the enhancements look realistic. Well, there's a lot of people that, do enhancements super dark and black and all that, right? So when I started doing the covers, I tried my best to make it look as realistic as possible
Mm.
because at first they were super over exaggerated, like super white, chalky, just super like if you look at it, that's not what's actually happening, but it was just such a new thing and it was just like what the fuck is this? Right? But now it's just like I wanted to make sure they look realistic. So
Yeah.
what I did was I took that same formula that I learned in the new era of barbering and that people were already doing. But I just put my spin on it, which was instead of doing super over exaggerated colors and over exaggerated actions, I try to make it look as realistic as possible, so the cover actually looked like whatever that clickbait was actually happening.
Mm.
So that's kind of my spin, and I think that took the clickbaits to another level because at first the market started to catch on. They started to realize like, okay, this is fake. Like I'm not going to see this when I click on this,
Right.
right?
Right.
So it was like those type of covers, they kind of started going out of style. But then I started to make it look a lot more realistic, and then they kind of start blowing up again.
Yeah. Absolutely. What,
So
wow. Like that's a really great gem. Real quickly, I want to say like
yeah,
if you're a listener into here, what you can really glean from that is just like cutting hair, right? When you first learned how to cut hair, you learned the steps, and then as you got really good with it, efficient with it, you made it your own, right? You created your own steps, your own systems. And from what I'm hearing from you, pressure is like there was a system, right? And once you've got good at the foundations of that system, you really made it into your own and tried to make it 1% better, right? And
yep,
and put your own spin on it, right? And what I want to say is like to you barbers that are listening is like don't be I get a lot of barbers who I work with coaching with, you've done this too, pressure, who get really caught up on I don't want to copy somebody. I don't want to replicate somebody. It's like, no, you have to really build that foundation first and really get a good understanding of how to do it. Just like how you did with cutting hair. Then
yep.
after you learn that, hey, the world's yours, man. Like do what you want to do once you learn that foundations to make it your own and make it your own brand. And that's where you can really take advantage of content and going viral. But hey, I just wanted to throw that out there. Free jump for you guys on there. I know
Gotta
Pressure's
walk
going to
before you
talk
can
about that.
run, man.
Yeah, yeah. I know you're going to talk about that, bro. So didn't mean to steal your thunder on that.
No, you're good, bro. That's what it is, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like you not only with covers, but also with like voiceovers and just really barbering content, you really pushed it forward in that time period. Like, what is that, 2023 ish, 20, the end of 2022. So, like, for you, what advice would you give barbers who, because you do voiceover content stuff too, right? And I've tried
Yeah,
doing
voiceover
voiceovers.
consultation, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
consultations. I've done those before, and I know how awkward it is, how nerve-wracking it can be. So, what advice do you have for somebody, a barber or a content creator who's thinking about, putting their voice out there or their face out there in content creation, but they're kind of nervous? What advice do you have for them?
Okay, okay. Yeah, so voiceovers and consultations, man. First off, a voiceover is when it's exactly what it is. It's when you're talking over the video that you're showing. And then a consultation is when you're kind of having a conversation with your client about, usually about what type of haircut they want to get. The barber consultation. That's how it is, like in the book, the actual barber term for consultation. But you can make videos of these. So I have three things for people that are nervous or feeling anxious or overthinking doing this type of content. So for one, it's the world we live in now.
Mm,
Mostly everything is social media. There's going to be a lot of stuff on social media. Nowadays, people are scrolling on their phone instead of watching TV or movies. They're just on their phone scrolling for entertainment, just to watch stuff. They're not even looking for barbers sometimes. They're just on there because that's what we do now.
right.
A lot of
Right.
people, majority of people. So it's a normal thing to make content in this day and age. So I feel like a lot of people feel like it's kind of cringe or it's kind of awkward or it's like, maybe they're not confident in themselves. But I just want to say, don't be embarrassed and don't worry about what other people think, because this is the world that we live in now. So, just it's a normal thing to make content.
Yeah.
It's not like out of this world. It's not like, oh my God, it's so hard. It's not overthinking. Like just do it and put it out there, right? That's number one. But sometimes it's not that easy.
Yeah.
So two, I watch a lot of movies and shows and stuff, even though I just said people scroll instead. But I hear a lot of things always being said. There's always quotes where there's two type of people in this world. There's like talkers and there's doers, or there's buyers and there's sellers and all this type of stuff, right? So I made up my own from the book of pressure,
The book of pressure.
the book of pressure, right? And being a social media guy, I say, hey, in today's world, there's two types of people. There's the influenced and the influencers. There's the creators, there's the consumers, right?
Oh, you spitting
So it's
now.
like, which one are you going to be, right? Are you going to be in your head about making content, but you're watching everybody else do it? Because I know you on that phone. Or are you going to be a creator? Are you going to influence? It's normal. You're either going to be influencing or you're going to be influenced. And the difference is, in today's day and age, anybody can be an influencer. Back in the day, there was like gatekeepers. Like if you wanted your music to be put out there, let's say you're a musician, just for an example, you had to go show your music to a record label, and they had to like your music to say, okay, I can put this on the radio. Otherwise, if they say I don't like it, that one person or that one record label is going to stop everybody in the whole world from listening to your music. Same thing with a TV show. If you want to do a TV show, you got to go talk to a TV channel or a producer. Same thing with a commercial. You want to advertise your business, you got to go talk to a TV channel and say, hey, I want to buy some time on one of your commercials. It was gatekeepers back then. Now social media is free. You can do everything for free. If you make music, you can just post your own music and make your own audience. Nobody is gatekeeping you from the world hearing it. Nobody is gatekeeping from seeing your commercial or seeing your show. You can make a show on YouTube. You don't need a TV channel. You don't need a premium channel. So it's like the world has changed, and it's always been influenced or influencer too. Like think of the news. Like, think of TV shows or even music. It's the same thing. Back then, you couldn't even go on YouTube or listen to your own music unless you went and buy the CD or you watch it when it comes on TV as like the music videos. I'm a big music guy. And back then you had to watch like MTV, and if you wanted to hear something, you had to hope it came on during that hour that music is playing. Or they had like on demand and stuff, but even before that.
Yeah.
Right? But now, if you make music, you could just post the music and put it out there. If you want to market your business, it's like a commercial. When you're marketing your business, it's like a commercial on the television, on the TV show of social media.
Absolutely.
But now it's your own show, because now you can put yourself and your personality into it.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to use that as an example of like, we're really living in a day and age where anybody can have the power to influence. Yet, because we're kind of overthinking and we're being anxious about things, we're falling to the side of being influenced instead of being an influencer. You're going to be one or the other. And that's just facts. So the next time you feel off about making content, be an influencer, not the influenced. All right, that was fire, right?
That was pretty gas, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I hold
That's
you to
facts,
it.
though.
Yeah, you spit it.
Gatekeepers, bro, they're becoming extinct.
Yeah.
But everybody can kind of have power now.
It is.
But it's up to you to put in the work to get it.
Yeah, it's like open source. Like it's up to you. It's like before you get to your next point, it's like that we live in the information age. Like anything you want to do, it's accessible. There's information there. You just got to go out and do it. Like if you're
You gotta go
struggling with
find it.
content, like there's information out there. In fact, we have free information out there. Like you could look at Pressure's videos on Instagram and you can glean from there. You can look at mine and you can get all the free resources on there, right? But anyway, I
It's there.
digress. Go on. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all there. It's just it takes you getting out of that mindset and taking action on it. And last but not least, nowadays people like authenticity. So even though, some of us, they might be insecure about how they look or how they sound, and that's why they're anxious or they're not confident in themselves. People like authenticity now. We don't want to see actors acting like something in a show or a movie. We want to see real people that we can relate to because they're real. But we're watching your show. It's like a reality TV show. If they wanted to watch actors, they'd be watching movies and TV shows.
Right.
But like I said earlier, majority of people spend more time scrolling social media than watching TV and movies nowadays. So they want to see regular people making content of themselves. Now, sometimes you gotta like put on a character on social media to be more entertaining. You might be boring a little bit. It's okay. Sometimes you gotta put on a character, but the difference is that's a character of you. That's like a version of you. You're not acting like somebody completely different, like in a movie. You're being you, but you're like acting like another version of you that's maybe a little bit more entertaining for social media. Sure. It's the same thing with our haircut videos. And in our haircut videos that we do, that we teach in the New Era Barbering, it's like you have to over exaggerate how you cut the hair to make it look good on camera. But most of us, we don't actually cut the same way that we record, right? Right, Dex?
Yeah.
100%. So it's like, that's like the character of making the haircut look good. It's the same thing when you want to use your voice or you want to put yourself in camera. So don't be afraid of that. Don't shy away from that. So I got a story to go along with this one, if you don't mind. I got two stories. Absolutely. I might go a little long. So the first one is a little personal. It's my mother, right? So this is a perfect example of authenticity. So my mother, she does hair. Like I said, she's been doing hair for a long time. But now she does hair like full time. And, me being a social media guy, I help her build her social media. And she wanted to start doing voiceovers. So she does voiceovers. And the content is good, but when she talks, she does what I call the white people voice. Where back in the day, when you got a job at a certain place, you had to talk a certain way to fit in, or if you're on the phone with customers, like you got to talk a certain way.
Yes.
Right. Yes. So she, instead of talking like this, sometimes she'll talk like this, and she'll say it all proper and all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I told her, I said, Mom, you got to stop talking like that. That's not how you talk. It sounds weird. That's not it. We even did a presentation. I went to my barber school before, and me and her, we kind of like taught a class on, it was skill set at the time. It wasn't marketing or anything. It was like how to cut hair and how to do hair. And I'm talking like me. I'm like, everything's pressure and you got to push the hairline back. And I'm talking my shit, bro. I'm me. Yeah. So then I'm talking, and then my mother comes up there. She's like, yeah, so when you use the comb, you got to turn it like this. And I'm just like, Ma, where did you go? That's not you. So recently I told her again.
Hold up. You said, Ma, use that voice that you use when I'm in trouble. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm gonna whoop
That's what they want to hear. Use that voice that you use when you're yelling at me. But recently she did it again. And this was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
She did it again. And, we were talking about content and stuff. I'm giving her some feedback, trying to help her out. And my sister's in the room. So I said it again. I said, why you keep talking like that? Why don't you talk like yourself? And my little sister started laughing. And she always using that voice. So then she realized okay, maybe like I'm gonna listen, right? And she's like, I don't know, that's just how I talk. I said, Ma, be you.
Mm.
People don't want to. People want to hear you. You don't have to talk like that. Like talk like how you talk. Cuss. Talk like how you talk. Talk like you're from Baltimore. I'm in Baltimore. So, we have lingo, we have little sayings. Like my business name, my whole haircut is Pressure Bips.
Yeah.
Nobody else knows what that is. But everywhere else is not my clientele. My clientele is
Right.
in Baltimore.
Yeah.
So Baltimore know what Bips is. That's all I need.
Yeah. He
Right?
had to
And then
teach
I
me that
can
word.
that's like my brand, and then I can kind of spread that around.
Yeah.
But, I was just telling her that pretty much. And then she was like, oh, okay. So the next day she posts a video. It wasn't a voiceover, but she did a written hook. Like she had like the words on the screen, and she said turning a cruddy into starter locks. And at the bottom she said his shit was messed up. It was like 2 words. Bro, that video outperformed all her videos in the last month.
Oh my goodness, man.
Now I'm not saying go out here and be unprofessional and cuss and all that.
Sure.
I'm not saying blatantly do that. What I am trying to say is be you.
Mm.
Be authentically you. And people will resonate with you, because then if you making content and you acting like something else, or you're putting on a voice or something like that, then people will expect that of you. And then if they do actually book an appointment with you, or come into your business, or get in vicinity with you, and then you're acting like something different, they're gonna be like, who is this? Right?
Yeah.
Be you.
Yeah.
And be authentic. And I just wanted to use that story. Shout out to moms. If you're watching, I love you, Ma. But it's doing better now, right? We good.
That's such an
And
awesome story, man.
yeah, so that helped her out a lot. I wanted to tell one more, bro, if we got the
Yeah,
time.
absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
wanted to actually tell one that you probably know. He was in the New Era Barber, and he was in EM. His name is Dante, or
Oh, yeah.
Javante. Dude, right?
Yeah.
So as we're on calls and stuff, we would do calls and we would all learn together. Every time he would ask a question, he would talk a certain way. And mind you, this guy's like a big black dude, fit, short hair, like, solid dude. And he comes on there, and this is how he talks. He's like, dude, I don't know what the fuck to do, man. I'm trying to I'm trying to do this. It's like that's just how he talks. I'm not trying to make fun of him,
Right.
bro. If you're watching, I'm not trying to make fun of you at all. I'm trying to be educational.
Yes.
But this is how he talks, and it's so funny because you would not expect him to talk like that.
Right.
And
Right.
the whole class, like everybody in the call is cracking up. People are in the chat, like talking,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
saying dude and stuff. Like everybody's having a good time. We're not laughing at him, we're laughing with him. We
Right.
love how he talks. But then he goes and makes content and he never speaks. Or when
Mm.
he makes content, he was speaking regular. He wasn't like using that voice that he did with us that
Yeah.
everybody loved.
Yeah.
And I told him multiple times in his DM, bro, start talking like how you talk in the call. Coaches told him multiple times in the program, in the elevated mentorship, why aren't you talking like how you talk? Just be you. When he started doing that, his social media presence and his business went to the next level.
Mm.
He raised his price, all his content got better, his views started going all the way up. Like everything got better when he allowed himself to be himself.
Yeah.
And he stopped being like, I don't know if he was I don't know what was going on with him. I'm not trying to talk shit about anybody. But being in the program and seeing that shift with him was amazing.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what we're talking about here, is like sometimes people feel like they can't be themselves, but sometimes being yourself is what's really going to help you get to that next level. It's that
100%.
authenticity. People can feel when you're being fake, and they can feel
100.
when you're being real, even if it's through content.
I love that, bro.
So
I
those
love it.
those two stories are prime examples.
What's his Instagram? Do you know it on the top of your head? If not, no
I
worries.
know it was
Just in
like
case someone's listening.
Norfolk. It was like Norfolk something.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you
It,
trying to pull a video up to see so you can
yeah.
show them how he talks?
I was gonna say like his description, so that way if they wanted to look him up or whatever, we don't have to do it on this episode, but
Yeah,
if you guys want to look it up, yeah, we'll find his Instagram. I'll put it in the
I'll find it.
description notes. Yeah, yeah. But I think like as you're finding that, I think like that is such a key, and for you guys listening on this, like those are such great stories with really good principles that Pressure told. Um, but for like you might be here and you might be like, well, I don't have a personality. Like I don't have anything like that. Well, let me give you another example. You got that one pulled up. Go ahead. You can do it.
Parkside J.
Parkside J. Parkside J.
Parkside J.
Check him out on Instagram. Let him know. Let him
Check
know
my
the
boy
180
out.
podcast and Pressure sent you his
I
way.
think he made a new Instagram or something.
Yeah, on his page.
Yeah, I think he made a new one because his page was way bigger than this.
Gotcha.
But go check him out. Y'all see who I'm talking about.
Yeah. And back to what I was saying is you might be thinking, I don't have a personality like that. Like there's nothing interesting about me. Well, it's like be you. I think a perfect example of that is, no offense to the guy, Tough the Barber. Again, someone else who's in the program where he just is a no nonsense type of dude, like just forward, monotone. What's up?
Straightforward.
How you doing? Right? And if you watch that is his Instagram handle, so you can look him up too. A lot of you guys probably already following him. Tough, right? The barber you'll see that in his consultations. Okay, and you're trying to do what today? What are you doing today? And that's just who he is. And the moral of the story, guys, whoever it is like you like what Pressure said is be authentically you, right? In a world where there's AI, right, that blows up, there's so many people trying to blend in. It's like the way you stand out is being irreverently, authentically just yourself. That's how you do it. You know what I mean? Like, and that's how you really do it. And for you guys out there, is you guys are afraid to do that, right? To the point at hand where Pressure gave wonderful advice is if you're nervous about there's no need to be nervous. There's so many other people that are doing it. It's not like 2012, 2011, or I don't know, the 2000s when YouTube was just popping where it's like you're weird. It's like this is normal. People are quitting their 9 to 5 to literally make money off of TikTok, right? Like they're making like a whole living off of this. It's normal now, and it's like don't miss out on that. Don't miss out on that. I kind of wanted to dive deeper into the persona, right? The Pressure, right? And if you've ever watched Pressure's videos, he has like these shades on that he. There they are. Yes, sir. I thought he was gonna start. He went from handsome to pretty boy again, bro, real quick, bro. Um, but if you watch Pressure's content, you know that those were like a staple of his. And I think, you watch anybody that's really big, they have staples in their content that makes them them. Like, I think the first person I think of is Sly Huncho, right? Spice balls, I'm in that mode, right? Like, and then he has like the little gun that's shooting, right?
Yep.
So I really want to talk about that for a second, like talking about, your consultations, how important that was growing your clientele. And I know, like, maybe even touch on editing and stuff like that. But I would love for you to talk about your persona, Pressure. How'd you come up with that? What's the story behind that?
The persona Pressure. Okay. It comes from a lot of things, man. It comes from a lot of things. I would say for one, it's because like people around me perceive me as like anything I do, I'm pretty good at. But that's because that I apply pressure to what I do. And people that have been close to me, yourself included, people know that when I put my mind to something, like I'm going to go hard and I'm going to be good at what I'm trying to do, whatever it is. So I'm always applying pressure to whatever I'm doing, right? So that's one of the things. There was also, I used to smoke a lot. I used to smoke a lot of weed. And there's a lot of different names for weed.
You? No.
So, there's a lot of different names for weed, and it used to be like loud, and I got the gas, and I got the Zaza. Zaza is like the thing now, and there's like different names for weed. And whenever I smoked, I just called it pressure. Like my weed was pressure. Um, And I was actually, I, I'm really big into music. I told you earlier, I really love music. So I've made music throughout my whole life. I just never really released it. I have like over 60 songs, just sitting in my phone. But I did drop 2 songs. So if y'all want to go listen to them, ZayPressure on
Hey,
Apple Music.
shout out
But they're
ZayPressure on
different.
Apple.
They
Yeah.
they they different from Barber's ZayPressure. Is before my barber's time, but it was really me and my father. We were smoking, and we're just chilling, and I'm showing him my music and stuff. We high, and I'm like, I want to drop some stuff. Like, what should my rap name be? This is
Mm.
really a rap name, ZayPressure, because it was like my name's Isaiah. I went by Zay, and at the time I was hanging with a lot of older people. So everybody would call me Neff, which is like short for nephew.
Yeah, yeah.
I was thinking like, my name should be like Lil Neff or something, like Lil Neff. Like that used to be my Instagram handle a while ago. It was like Lil Neff,
That actually low-key
LOR.
goes hard, bro.
Yeah, Lil Neff. Because everybody called me Neff. Like I hanged out with a lot of older people. Like I said, I'm smoking with my father. So
Yeah,
my
yeah,
father, he got friends, and I'm basically their nephew because
yeah.
they're all my uncles. And a lot of people just call me Neff. So that was like my name, but then I was like, should this be my rap name or like what should it be? But I wanted to be like me, which is Zay. And then he was like, "Oh, you be having the pressure, bro. Just say Zay pressure." And I was like, the next day I dropped the song, and that's what I changed my Instagram. I dropped the songs,
That's it.
and that's been my name ever since. But then he literally said like, this is all my father, by the way. He literally said like, bro, you can make pressure anything. Like
Mm.
pressure could be the weed. When you're cutting hair, you could say, yo, they just came and got pressurized. Like he literally told me that. And I made it come to life. And I want to touch on this because my father, he's one of them people where he's not doing anything extravagant like with social media or business. He has a job and stuff, right? And there's so many of us people out there that have these ideas and that have these bright minds and can come up with these things, but they can't bring them to life. So I want to say, like, for one, I want to say try your best to bring these ideas to life. You can bring things to life that are in your head. All these videos that we create, this idea, this podcast, everything started in here, and we have to put the work in to make it come to life. But also, if you're not that type of person that is the spotlight or the star, get around people that are. People can use your ideas and you can still be successful even though you're not the face. You don't have to be the superstar to be successful. Everybody's role or everybody's purpose is not to be that guy, and that's okay. Sometimes you can be the person that's there on the team fulfilling your purpose while this other person might be, think about these influencers, like these celebrities like Kai Sanat, right? I'm a gamer, I like streamers and stuff. Think about all he just did the subathon where he had all the camera crew and stuff. Or I see these streamers where they have like somebody controlling the stream. So they'll say their name, like let's say it was you, Dex. I'll be like, yo, Dex, ban him for saying that. And like somebody else is doing stuff. Or we have video editors that are very good at editing. And so the content creator might be the superstar. They might be the one that's saying the video, but then you send it to an editor, and the editor is the one who edits it and brings that video to life. So what I'm trying to say is, with that story of how I got the name Pressure, um, my father helped me make that name. And even though I'm Pressure and I'm saying pressurized, and all that idea came from him, but I was able to help him bring it to life. And I couldn't do that without him.
That's powerful,
So
man.
everybody has a purpose and a place. You just got to find like yours. It might not be the main guy. It might be, but just, I just want to put that out there. And that
Dude,
just came off the top. I got some
yeah.
notes written down, but that
I
just
was gonna say
that
that
just came off the top.
my boy's spitting, man, and I think
Yeah.
that that will resonate with a lot of the listeners on here. Is the fact that we've seen we all have that pressure of our parents and living up to that expectation, right? Kind of like living up to what they have set, or living through them, or they're living through us. And I think that's so powerful. What you said is sometimes, in our prideful, egotistic ways, like pushing it aside. I just want to do this. I just want to be me. And in some cases, that's right, right? Like that in some cases, sure. But in cases like this, is like grab that and run with it, you know what I mean? And make that part of your being, because that's who we are, right? I wouldn't be the man I am today if it weren't for people that God put in my life that really nurtured me and I gleaned from and invested from. That's who made me Dexter. That's what makes you Pressure, right? And there's
That was a
nothing
bar right
wrong.
there.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with admitting that. Is we all have mentors. We have all had inspirations, people that inspired us, that make us who we are. And I absolutely love that, man, is like being part of a team. I think also like uh just how you opened up about that, bro. That was really cool, man. I just want to say that. That was really cool, dog. Heck yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. Keeping it real,
Um
bro. I'm gonna turn the pressure now. I'm gonna answer as pressure from now on.
yeah.
All right.
So and
That's
as I
it.
was speaking to Mr. Pressure himself, for
Mhm.
barbers that are just really starting out, when it comes to like content, when it comes to like building their persona, like how do you think they can improve their content? Right, we already talked about being yourself, being authentic. What's some tips and advice or tricks that you have that might be a little bit more like less on the mindset and more just practical stuff, you know what I mean? What's something that you could share with us?
Advice for younger barbers doing content. I would say you gotta follow the big four, bro. You gotta follow the four. And I'm gonna tell you what the four is.
Hold up.
Right? It's
Wait, you
four
notice
things.
that when he was Zay, it was three. When he's Pressure, it's four. It's always more,
I'm
bro.
gonna tell you
Come
the
on.
four. All right. So the big four: studying, reverse engineering, execution, feedback.
Mm,
Let me say that one more time. Studying, reverse engineering, executing, feedback. This is what you had to do to be successful with your content. Now, let me break it down for you. First, you have to study. You have to study the market. This can go for anything, not just barbers. You have to study the market.
yeah.
You cannot make good content if you don't watch good content.
Hmm.
How are you going to get an idea? How are you going to bring an idea in here to life, like we were talking about, if you don't see inspiration, if you don't see other stuff that's working? You might have an idea and you post it and it's not doing anything, or it's completely brand new, and it might bang or it might flop because we don't have a proven concept that it works. But when you study the market, you can see exactly what's working in the market when it comes to content, when it comes to business structures. Like Dex said earlier, we're in the information age. Anything that you want to learn and that you want to do, you can learn how to do it. You got to study how it works. If I want to learn how to do this, let me go study the market and see how to do that.
Facts.
Right?
Yeah.
So the first thing is studying. Now, specifically with content, you want to make sure you're studying good content. That means content that has a certain criteria of views, a certain criteria of likes, a certain criteria of shares, things like that. You don't want to be studying stuff that's trash. So, number one is studying. Number two, reverse engineering. Now, reverse engineering is when you take what you're studying and you brainstorm, how did they bring that to life? How
Mm,
did that happen?
mm,
Right? You need to reverse engineer and think about, what did this person do to make this content? Let's say it's a voiceover. Okay, well, it's a voiceover. I know he had to talk. Did he have a mic? Did he talk to his phone? Does he have one of these? Right? Oh, what's going on the screen? He's cutting hair like this. He's doing this. He's doing this. How did he get that? Was the phone sitting up in a tripod? Was he holding the phone? How's the lighting? Is it dark? Is it light? Is it
mm,
vivid? Is it
mm,
bright? How did he get that? Did he turn the brightness up? Is the ring light right there? What type of lighting does he have, right? You got to think about all these things. What angles are they using? Is he holding the phone up here? Is the phone down here? Is it over top his shoulder? How did he get that? You got to think about these things. So then you can go and execute. Execute. Now, when you reverse engineer, you got your plan. You say, okay, I studied. I see what needs to happen. I see what they're doing. Let me go and do it. This is when you do it. You got to take action. Now, when you execute, after you execute, you get your feedback. Now, feedback is going to come from multiple different things. For one, feedback comes from yourself. Now, you take the 4 and you go like this. And now you can compare. You can compare. Okay, your feedback, you're giving feedback on what you studied. So you can watch your video and you can watch a video that you were studying and you could say, hey, what am I missing here? How does my lighting look compared to their lighting? How does my angles look compared to their angles? Okay, what do I need to do better next time? And then the process starts over again.
Wow.
And you do it again.
Bro,
another thing with feedback. You get feedback from the market. How many likes did you get? How many views did you get? The market ain't going to lie to you. Now, there are some special occasions because some people have a very high follower count. So whatever they post is going to bang. And then sometimes you got people that'll post a banger, but they don't have that momentum behind their page. So it might not blow up right then and there. Me, for example, I've had multiple videos where I posted back in the day and they did trash, but then I posted when I had momentum on my page and when I was blowing up, and, you know, they did very well. Mm-hmm. So it's also that too, but the market will give you feedback nonetheless. Absolutely. And last but not least, some other eyes. Some other eyes, I would recommend someone who knows what they're talking about, a mentor, something like that, a teacher, a coach, somebody that has been there and done that, and somebody that knows the technicalities behind whatever you're trying to do. Get feedback from them because they know the blueprint, and then they can tell you the way. This is exactly what I did.
100%, bro.
Learned how to study, learned how to break down videos, went and executed, and then got feedback from myself, the market, and my peers in the new era of barbering. And then I went and did it again, and I did it every single video.
100%.
So if you're trying to make content, that's the big 4 right there.
I love that, bro. If you are listening in, man, that you just got jam-packed value of stuff. Shameless plug for the new era barbering. Me and Pressure are both graduates. You know what I mean? I'm a coach in the program as well. We would love to work with you guys, man. If that's something that's interesting you, make sure that you reach out to me on Instagram, on TikTok, whatever, the 180 cut. Reach out to me. We'll definitely connect. Now, there's one thing I do want to mention that you said, I think that's really powerful, right? Is about the studying and the feedback, right? And how those intertwine, right? And reverse engineering. And, you know, I think this is going to be helpful for a lot of listeners, is the analogy of, remember when you first started cutting hair, Pressure, you know, when you first started cutting hair and you would look at the cut and you'd be like, that was good, right? And take a picture. And now, right, if you look at that same haircut 3-4 years down the road, I mean, hopefully, right? You'll be like, bro, that's trash. That's garbage. What happened is you developed a eye, right? You developed a barber's eye for it. And it's the same thing when it comes to content. When you first make content, just like how with cutting hair, you're not going to have that eye. You're not, like it Pressure said, you're not going to understand why it worked. You're not going to know to think about the lighting, the angles, all of this, all of the everything, right? The whole 9 yards. You're not going to think about that. But the more reps that you get and the more you go through that process, the better eye you will develop. Just like how when it came to cutting hair, you develop that with the more reps you got. The same thing. And to Pressure's point, how do you speed that up? Right? How do you speed that up? By getting people who do have that barber's eye, if you will, and getting their side on there so that way they can help you improve even faster. But I just wanted to touch on that, man. I think that's phenomenal, bro. Dropping the four big ones, guys. 4 big ones. Say it one more time for them so that they know.
The big 4. Studying, reverse engineering, execution, feedback.
Fire.
It's the
Absolutely.
big four of social media. All social media. That's not just barbers.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even just social media. That's life.
Yeah.
You want to learn how to get in shape? You got to study. How are other people getting in shape? Well, they're going to the gym. They eating right. Reverse engineer that. Well, what are they eating? What is their workout routine? What gym do they go to? Are they lifting? Are they doing calisthenics? Execution. Now I need to go do that. I need to go to the gym. I need to cook. I need to meal prep. I need to do it on a consistent basis. Feedback. Oh, I didn't do it because I'm slacking. I'm being lazy. Oh, I didn't feel like cooking, so I bought other food out. I need to stop doing that. This is life, bro.
100%.
This is life.
Wow. Yeah, that's a great reframe. 100%. It's a great reframe. It's like if you can learn that and apply it not just to barbering, but applying it to anything, you will come out on top. You will come out on top. That's
You can apply that to anything, and you will start applying pressure.
We got and the podcast right there, bro. Roll the credits.
That's it.
It's all right. Like Vince Carter, bro. It's over. It's over. Guys, I do want to ask you pressure on this, right? Is talking a little bit about that mindset and motivation. I think you're on a roll right now, bro. Absolutely. So, I really want you to talk about that on your mindset when it came to, because it's like you said earlier, it's not all fine, dandy, and roses. I mean, when walls and barriers get caught up. We talked about this towards the beginning of the episode. As we get ready to kind of close down this episode, I really want to inspire, motivate barbers who are struggling with this. So talk about your mindset when approaching challenges, or having writer's block, or just not being inspired or motivated to create content, to really grow the business. What's your mindset to kind of get out of that place?
That's a good question, man. If I'm being honest, this is a question that I'm still trying to learn the answer to, bro. I still have writer's block. I still don't post content as consistently as I used to. What I think it is, man, is you need to understand your why. You need to understand why you're doing it. And it needs to be like a deeper purpose. Because sometimes your why gets achieved and then you start slacking off. And then you got to find another why. For example, me, myself, right? I was living in my mom's basement and we was in the trenches. There's mice. There was leaks literally on top of my bed when I'm sleeping. And my son had to grow up down there. There was mold in the walls because of the leaks. It was not a good environment, but I had to sacrifice. But being there made me go hard because I wanted to get out of there. So that was my why. But now I've built myself up, helped my family move to a better house. I got my own place now. So now it's like, okay, I got my own place. And now I'm kind of slacking. I'm not slacking. I'm still working, but I haven't been posting as much.
That's real, bro. That's real.
I'm not looking for new clients. I have a clientele. I'm making good money. It's not, I always want to make more. I want to be more, like I said earlier in this podcast. But because I don't have that struggle on me, or that monkey on my back, I'm not going as hard as I used to. And what I think, I don't know the answer, but what is coming to my mind is I need to find another why. And when you're struggling, a strong enough why is to not struggle. That'll work. But then once you stop struggling, it's like what now? And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, what now? What do I do now?
That's real.
So I think we have to find another why that's outside of us. I was trying to get myself out of the struggle. Now that I'm good, my family's good. Okay, what now? Well, now, I need to think about my son's future. If I continue down this path of not applying as much pressure as I should be, what's that look like for him? Is he going to have the opportunities that I want for him? He might not struggle, right? What about my family? If I do something bigger, it could make endless opportunities for my family? What about generational wealth?
Sure.
What about you know, building something that the whole world can learn from? Something like the new era of barbering, where it's like, yeah, you know, as coaches and mentors, and I'm sure the owner, Daniel, right? We're making money, right? But it's like we're changing people's lives. Y'all are changing
Absolutely.
people's lives.
Absolutely.
It's making an impact. And the money is like the icing on the cake.
100%. Yeah.
And I'm learning that because where I come from, it's all about the money. And now that I'm not at a point where it has to be all about the money, like the money is okay. I'm not rich or anything, bro. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not struggling anymore.
Right.
And when you're struggling, you're living in a scarcity mindset. Everything is about money.
Mhm.
So now that everything is not about money, I'm having a hard time trying to find my why. And I think we have to find something outside of ourself. And we have to find purpose outside of ourself, whether that's with family, whether that's with a community, whether that's with the world. We have to find some type of purpose outside of ourself to strive towards, so then we have other people dependent on us. Because even
Yeah.
when I was struggling, my son was dependent on me and my family was dependent on me. So now it's like nobody's dependent on me now. Not to say that they're not dependent on me, but we're not struggling anymore.
Sure.
So, but it has to be more than that. Or
Yeah.
maybe we just have to learn ourselves.
Mm.
Maybe some of us, it might be, hey, I want that penthouse.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go hard to get a penthouse. And maybe it is yourself. I don't think there's anything wrong with whatever it is, whether it's for yourself, whether it's for other people, your family, the community. But at the end of the day, you need to find a clear purpose on why you're doing what you're doing
Yeah. Yeah.
and start working towards that why.
Yeah.
For me, it's not a selfish reason anymore. It's more of the type of impact I make on my loved ones and the world. And, you know, I still haven't found that answer, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my mindset on that topic.
Absolutely, man. I think that's phenomenal. I think that's real. I think that people, if you're listening in, like that's as real as it gets, folks. Like seriously, like is we're all trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? And I'll just say this: you listen to this podcast, Dexter, wow, man, he's this, or Pressure, wow, he's this. Man, we all got our struggles, bro. You know what I mean? We're not perfect human beings. You know, I think of the founder of New Era Barbering, like Daniel, right? He's an absolute freak, bro. And I've always felt like when I was in the program and he was my coach, like, dude, this guy's crazy, bro. He eats, sleeps, does this. Nah, man, he puts his pants on the same way we do every morning, right? But one thing that he does have that I've always admired, and you might feel the same way, Pressure, is kind of like a Mamba mentality, right? It's like the same thing where it's like you said, for him, it was like, I'm trying to make it out. I'm trying to prove all these guys wrong. You know what I mean? I'm trying to prove them I can make it as a barber. I can be that first shark in the blue ocean of this industry of coaching barbers. I can
Oh
be
yeah.
that dude. I can be that dog. And now it's like he's got that Mamba mentality where it's like I hear this all the time. I'm a big basketball fan. Like Kevin Garnett used to do it, Michael Jordan, right? They would come up with these like chips on their shoulders. They would pretend like someone says something or did something, right? That could be something that resonates with you guys. Is like come up with something to make it feel that way. You know what I mean? Make it real to you, right? Whatever it is to kind of give you that edge. And I feel like Daniel has that really down pat. It's something that I'm definitely trying to develop for sure. But I love that, bro. That was such a real answer.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
Speaking of like real answers, talking about
Oh,
struggling, right? And just like self doubt or feeling stuck in their careers, right? And I think we've all struggled with this as barbers. It's like feeling like you're plateaued or whatever the case is. But for you, like what piece of advice would you give to a barber who's kind of struggling with that, with self doubt or feeling stuck?
that's a good one too, man. Uh, for one, I want to say be transparent and say, you know, I always feel self-doubt all the time. I think everyone does. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to start off by saying that it's normal to feel that way. Um, and I also want to say something I think I heard in a movie that bravery is not the person having no fear. Bravery is the person having fear and still doing whatever it is that they're doing because they're brave,
Yeah.
right? And you know, sometimes you're going to feel off about yourself. Sometimes you're not going to be confident in yourself. Sometimes you're going to think this might not be it. This might be it. Sometimes it might not be it. And the world going to show you. And then sometimes it might is. It might do be it. I don't know how to say that properly. But it's a normal thing. And sometimes you just got to push through it. And I would say keep going. Just keep going. Because things get easier as the more you do it. When I first started editing videos, it took me like 3 hours to do a good video. You know, I was applying pressure on them videos. But now, you know, I can knock a video out in an hour, 45 minutes to an hour.
Right.
And it's a full video, but that's because I've done it so much. I kept going. You know, even if things don't work out for you, you might try things, you might test something out and it doesn't work. You got to keep going. And that doesn't mean keep doing the same thing over and over, but that just means, okay, get some feedback for yourself.
Yep.
And make some
Use
adjustments.
Experience. Yep.
You know, and you just got to keep going, man. And, you know, if you're feeling doubt in yourself or, you know, you're feeling the type of way, sometimes you have to, it's another movie one. This is Batman. He says, it's not exactly this, but The Dark Knight, he says, you have to be the hero. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And it's kind of the same thing with today's day and age and social media, but instead of like hero and villain, it's like maybe corny or cringe, and then like you're that guy now, right? Because it's like, you know, sometimes posting content, you might not be confident. You might be like, oh, this is, you know, especially me, like speaking from my personal experience, where I'm from and the people I'm around, like how I grew up, social media is not it. You want to be ducked off. You want to be not seen, but you got motion.
Yeah.
Right. But the world has changed where, you know, I'm not going to say it's not like that anymore, but there's a lot of different opportunities with being out there and being seen. So for me, it's like you got to put yourself out there and look stupid sometimes, or let other people look at you as stupid or look at you as cringe or corny. It was corny for me. Like when I was in my barbershop, I was the only one with a ring light. Everybody used to crack on me, right? They used to be like, what's this guy doing? When I would pull the camera out, they'd be hiding from the camera.
Yep.
I even had some people tell me like, oh, I'm never going to watch your YouTube. You know what I'm saying? It was like in a joking way, but you know, it's like one of them jokes where it's kind of like they're being serious.
Yeah.
I've always had people crack on me.
Yeah.
Once I started getting them new clients coming in, and once I start asking them, oh, how'd you find me? Oh, Instagram. Oh, how'd you find me? Oh, I booked through the app because I seen your video. I seen your pictures on there, right? I was getting cracked on. Now all of a sudden, all the other barbers like this.
How you do that, bro? How does that work? Yeah.
So, like, sometimes you have to go through that, and you have to have some type of. You got to have like somewhat delusion in yourself that it's going to work. Like, even though the odds are stacked against you, and even though other people are saying this, you got to have some type of delusion. Like, nah, fuck that. It's going to work. I know this is going to work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then also one more thing that just came to mind is like, for me, it was other people. I don't know how it is for everyone else, but you know, the people I'm around, most of the people that I'm around are not on what I'm on or what I'm trying to be. And I was letting their ideas and their thoughts like kind of get in my head sometimes. I mean, I pushed through it. I was brave, but I still felt it, just like you're going to feel it and everybody feels it, but they got to do it anyway. So what I would say is, if you're in a situation where other people around you are kind of looking at you different and looking at you weird because of what you're trying to do, you got to look at their life and say, well, would I want to do that? Do I want to be like that? And not to say anybody is not living a good life, but we all have a vision of what we're trying to do. We all have this idea in our head that we're trying to bring to life, like we were saying earlier. And sometimes some people can kind of cloud that. But you got to say, should I be listening to this person? Is this a person that I should like have in my corner? Is this the type of person that I need to be around? You're going to be around. You're going to be like the people that you're around. You're going to be like the 5 people that you surround yourself with, right? So I would try to say block out that noise and surround yourself with people that are on the same stuff as you, whatever that is. So it will, instead of like clouding, it will nourish your thoughts and your ideas. And it's not easy. Like I said, I'm from Baltimore. The culture is a certain way here, and there's not a lot of people that's on what I'm trying to be on here. So how can you be around people? How can you surround yourself with people that are on the same stuff that you're on if nobody's around you is on that? Well, we got this beautiful thing called the internet now. And back in the day, the internet was the fake world, and it was antisocial. Why do they call it social media? It makes people not be social. Everybody's sitting on their phones instead of talking to people and da-da-da-da. Right? That was the narrative. Social media and the internet is real, bro. It's not cringe. It's not the fake world. It's not the Matrix. It's not the AI. It's real. And how I did it was I joined a program. I joined a community. I joined a mentorship that introduced me to all these people in a community of people that are on the same stuff that I'm on. So while I might not be able to touch them, like I can't touch Dex right now, I could touch him. I touch him through the screen. You felt that, didn't you? But even though we can't smell each other's breath, we're still surrounded by each other. We're still here talking.
100%.
And he's real.
Yeah.
All these people are real. We've had meetups with the new era of barbering where everybody from the community, we all meet up and we mix and mingle. We drink and we smoke and we eat and we talk business. We learn. There's people out there for you if the people are not around you that you can see and touch them. But as you get older, you have to find them. Like when we're younger, bro, I'm about to go on a little tangent here. Bro. When we're younger, we're forced to be around people because of where we're at. We don't have control of where we live. So sometimes you really got to think. Now, before I say this, I want to say I love all my friends, but I just be thinking sometimes. But sometimes you really got to think, are my friends that I grew up with really my friends? You had no choice but to be their friend. They're there in your class, sitting next to you, or they're over there on the other side of the classroom making funny faces so you get in trouble. But even though there's a big school and there's a big community of people wherever you live and you choose these specific people, they might be your true friends, but it's the choice out of where you're locked in at. You don't have control. When we become adults, when we get older, we start to have more control. And you can pick and choose the people that you want to be around and who you want to be in your life. You're not stuck to that, oh, he's in my class, he's funny, that's my man's. Right? Or he's over here. Like, you get what I'm saying? Yeah. We're not stuck to that.
Yeah.
So we can find people that's really, we want to choose to be friends with. Now, I'm not saying people's hometown friends are not their friends. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm just saying think about that.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's been a hard thing. I'm very lonely. I'm like a popular loner. Like people know me and I say what's up to everybody, but I'll be by myself. I'll be right in here playing the game, editing videos about my business and streaming.
Yeah.
ZayPressure on Twitch. But it's like, it's hard to put into words what I'm thinking. But it's like, you don't have to, you can find your people. You can find your people. Your people are out there. And when you, I was saying this, when you become an adult, you have to put in effort to go find your people. When you're a kid, for example, me, when I'm a kid, my friends are because I know them from school or I know them from my neighborhood or, you know, I got a whole bunch of brothers and cousins and we all just locked in because we go to my mother's house every weekend and we're having sleepovers and shit. Right? All that is out of my hands. I don't get to choose where I go to school. I don't choose what sport team I play for. My parents sign me up. Sports teams too. Right? I don't choose what classes I'm in. I don't choose my family. You don't choose these things. Now, again, you might have a family, you might be in a classroom, and then you choose specific friends. You might not be close with everybody in your class or in your family, but that's out of that vicinity that's your options. You have no other options. And it's just automatically there. When I was younger, I didn't have to think about, oh, I need to make plans to go have fun with my friends. It just happened because we're at school every day, messing around while the teachers turned around, not looking. Or, we're having a sleepover. I don't have to set up a sleepover or set up a vacation. Like now we're adults. We want to sleep over each other's house. It got to be a vacation now, right? You're not just
Right.
going to come over and spend the
Right.
night. We're not having a slumber party, right? But now it's like you have to put an effort to be social,
Yeah.
at least for me, and what I'm trying to do, because it takes a lot of alone time when the people around you aren't what you want, and you have to focus up.
Mhm.
Sometimes some of you people out there, you're gonna have to go through that where it's gonna be lonely. But like I'm saying, when you're younger, for one, you don't really have a choice, and for two, you don't really have to put in effort. It's not in your control. Things happen. Your parents sign you up. Your parents set up the birthday parties and the this and that, and you got family here and family there. Or you got your classmates, or the school has something going on, so you're gonna go after school and do this, whatever. When you become an adult, you have to go and look for that. You have to go
Yeah.
and find your people.
Yeah.
It's not just gonna happen, and it's not easy when you're different. When everybody else around you is doing certain things, and they're going out partying and smoking and drinking, and nobody cares, and everybody's just having fun, and they got a job, or they're just kicking it, cooling. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's not me. That's not what I'm on. I'm locked in. I'm locked in with my cock in. So you feel me? It's like it's hard to be out there and like mixing and mingling. I'm trying to drink and have a good time at a party, and I'm just thinking like, bro, what am I going to post tomorrow?
Right. Right.
What am I? So I say all that to say the internet is real people. It's not the fake world. It's not antisocial. Everybody uses it. It's not cringe. Get over it. It's a new day and age. That's for one. For two, when you become an adult, you have to go and find your people. Unless you're still with the same people, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I think,
But you have to put in a lot more effort to surround yourself with people, and
yeah.
the people that you're surrounded by is who you're going to be like.
Yeah. I just want to say like 100% is what I'm hearing. And if you're a listener and you listen to that and to that part of the story is when you're struggling, right? Or you're feeling stuck, what pressure is trying to get around to is when you're younger, that's the hand that you were dealt. Ain't nothing you can do about it, right? Now that you are an adult, you have, as a barber, you have full control of where you want your career to go. Like if you are struggling with self-doubt, if you are feeling stuck in your career, you don't have to stay there. That's the card that's been dealt right there, but you can do something about it. You can do something about it. It's like, how badly do you want to do something about it? Because you can complain until you're blue in the face that you don't like where you're at. But when are you going to do something about it? When are you going to take action? When are you going to find a community of barbers who want to grow, of barbers who are not complacent at 5, 6K, right? Who don't want to, or who are complacent and comfortable with cutting hair, breaking their back for whatever hours, right? It's like, what are you going to do about that? Right? It's like you have at your fingertips, we have at our fingertips such a great tool, the internet, where you can do something about it. You listen to this podcast, you're doing something about it. When are you going to actually take action in person? You know what I'm saying? I love that, bro. That was just straight up a bar. And I think that's a I was going to ask you like a final message about barbers, you know what I mean, achieving success. What would it be? But I think that perfectly encapsulated. I would if there's anything else you want to add to that, you're more than welcome to. But I think that like guys, this whole episode, holy cow, man. First of all, just love laughing, talking it up with you, Pressure. Like it's been a really long time since we've been able to do that. But
Yeah, man.
Yeah, what an absolute episode with Pressure. Is there anything before we kind of close? Anything else you want to add? One final message that you have for barbers?
Keep going. If you're sitting here watching this, you're on the right path, bro. Keep going. Figure it out.
Love that, man.
Keep going.
Love that. Well, that's a wrap for this episode of the 180 podcast. A huge thank you to Pressure and Zay for not only, not only just sharing his expertise and his knowledge, but really his heart. And I think his story and his testimony really just reminds us that it's more than just cutting hair. It's about creating those connections, inspiring, making other people laugh, and also building a legacy for those that we love. I love that. So if today's conversation really resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe and to share this episode with a friend or with a peer. You never know who might need that extra push to make that next big move. And remember that the journey to success is about taking it one step and one moment of courage at a time, because it only takes one small step to do a 180. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the 180 podcast.